Namaskar. Welcome to this session. We were considering metaphysical aspects in the event that we were trying to understand the concept of vasanas, the mysterious concept of vasanas, that vasanas are timeless, beginningless, and however, vasanas can end. How the vasanas end was beautifully postulated by the aphorist. So, point is, there are so many subtler things, microscopically subtle, macroscopically subtle, and then metaphysically subtle. So, in the empirical plane, we know there are so many tiny, small things such as atoms, molecules, which are very, very subtle. Then there are certain things which are microscopically subtle, even subtle for a microscope. And then there are certain things which are subtle to electron microscope. So this is in the realm of physics that we come to know about subtle things which are not tangible, which are not visible. Even the inference becomes difficult at times. So the point is, when anything and everything has an existence, if it is existent, then it exists in subtler and subtler and subtler form. So we go towards the causes, and cause of the cause, cause of the cause of the cause, cause of the cause of the cause of the cause of the cause, cause of the 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 cause. So they become extremely subtle, not even graspable to intelligence, not even graspable to intellectual processes. And again, the things, on the other hand, are again eternally going towards, and they again enter the realm of the subtle that you cannot see. Like you can see the rose today. What happens to rose tomorrow, you can see. What happens to rose after a couple of days, you can see. What happens to rose after a couple of weeks, you can see. But existent rose is ever existent in some form or the other, as the ecology puts it and the metaphysics puts it. So they enter the realm of the subtle, extremely subtle, even metaphysically subtle. So, in philosophy, this is termed as characterized. The characterized becomes, the dharmi becomes subtler and subtler and subtler. Like, for example, the rose comes from rose plant comes from rose seed again comes from rose plant, and ultimately in the realm of metaphysics we are told that everything comes from quintuplication elements, panchikruta mahabhutas. They come from mahabhutas. Mahabhutas come from tanmatra. Tanmatra comes from ahankara tattva. Ahankara tattva comes from buddhi tattva. Buddhi tattva comes from alinga, nominal, moola prakriti. Similarly, all material things will be traveling towards again becoming moola tattva, prakriti tattva, which is pradhana tattva. So, the realm of the subtle is an important thing that metaphysicists consider, and incidentally, this topic has come up. Uh, all that is vyakta dharma, all that is manifest, is sourced in subtle, sukshma, susukshma, parama sukshma. And according to Sankhya metaphysics, the prolific, diversified universe comes from Mula Prakriti, Pradhana Tattvam, called Avyakta. So at the source, everything is Avyakta Dharma, Avyakta Dharmatmaka. And ultimately, when it travels towards the Avyakta, so it comes from Avyakta and everything reaches Avyakta. So this primordial matter, the source of all phenomenal, source of all material, and ultimate resort for material is Avyakta. And how is this Avyakta? Avyakta is Gunatmaka. And therefore the sutra, Te Vyakta Sukshma Gunatmanaha. So whether it is phenomenal or luminal, every phase of Prakriti process is basically Gunatmaka, is basically of the nature of gunas. And these gunas are sattva, raja, tama, according to metaphysics. So that's why the sutra, Te Vyakta Sukshma Gunatmanaha. See, it is like this, that all the dharmas, characteristics, have dharmi. All characteristics come from dharmi, characterized. So dharma, not to take it as religion, it is a metaphysical concept, has characterized. So we can understand the difference between dharma and dharmi, the characteristics and characterized. So we can see the difference between the characterized and characteristics called dharma and dharmi. Like milk, curds, butter, clarified butter. What is the difference in identifying the distinctions? Because they are all distinct materials. Milk, yogurt, butter, clarified butter. There is no difficulty. And then you will see that there is a relationship of the nature of, these are all dharmas. Dugdha dharma, Dadi dharma, Navanita dharma. These are all dharmas. And there is always a characterized as the basic material, source material. So to investigate characteristics is not very difficult, because they have mutually opposite natures also. Like there is a big difference between milk and yogurt, between milk and butter, between milk and clarified butter, between yogurt and butter, between yogurt and clarified butter, between butter and clarified butter. A big difference, and quite phenomenal difference is there. Chemically different. These are all chemically different substances. Say for instance, the milk is alkaline, but the yogurt is acidic. Chemically, milk is alkaline, while the curds is acidic. So wherever milk is nutritious, the curds may not be. Where curds is nutritious, milk may not be. Like curds can ferment the milk. Curds can spoil the milk. So this is known to all uh, all of us who are familiar with certain kitchen processes. So where butter is nutritious, that can be identified. Where milk is nutritious, it can be identified. Where yogurt is nutritious or where clarified butter is nutritious, it can be all identified. And for some symptoms, it is advised not to take milk. For some other symptoms, it is advised not to take curds. For some other symptoms, it is said not to take butter. For some other symptoms, it is said not to take clarified butter. So that's called poshaka maraka. Something is nutritious and something is opposite of it. So these are various characteristics that all these characteristics have, and they can be mutually opposite. Like if you pour milk in fire, the fire will extinguish. But if you pour ghee, clarified butter in fire, it will blaze forth. So, a dharma can be amruta samana and the other can be visha samana. So something, the characteristics can be poisonous, and sometimes the characteristics can be elixir-like. And this is of experience for all of us. From one dharmi, all these different dharmas come up, which are mutually contradictory, mutually opposite, mutually alien. So from one characterized, these characteristics come. Like milk is one characterized, and from milk you get yogurt, butter, clarified butter. Now you can see that chemically these are totally different kind of entities. Totally different entities, mutually opposite entities, mutually antagonizing entities, etc., etc. So we know the characteristics have different properties, mutually opposite properties at times. But ultimately they all come from one characterized. So metaphysically there is also a kind of a non-difference between characterized and characteristics, because characteristics ensue from characterized. The dharma comes from dharmi. So in one perspective, the dharma and dharmi are not at loggerheads, because one comes from the other. But in characteristics, you will have paraspara vailakshanyam. That means from one characterized, you can get poison, and the same characterized, you can get elixir. From the same characterized, that is source matter, you can get poison, you can get elixir. From characterized, you can get something that is black, jet black, and the same characterized, you can get something that is snow white and super white. From same characterized, you can get something which is liquid form, and you can get later gaseous form, and you can get even solid form. So, or in the example that we have been citing, that butter is very soft matter, which comes from a characterized. And this butter can become hard like stone if you keep in a freezer chest of a refrigerator. It can become hard like stone even. So it can be soft, it can be hard, and today we know this very well. Otherwise, in ancient literature, butter was always used as a metaphor to explain something very, 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 very soft. Now, perhaps today's generation people do not know that butter is soft, because when they procure butter, it is like stone. When they get the butter back home, they keep it in a freezer chest and keep it stone. So, or for instance, water. Water can become vapor. When you give temperature to water, it becomes vapor. When you keep the water in freezing temperatures, water will become ice. So, substantially it is water, but then it is called ice, a block of ice. And then it can become vapor. And then you say it is vapor. Now, water itself becomes vapor. Water itself becomes ice. So, the material there is water. From that water, you can get a solid manifestation, gaseous manifestation, and liquid manifestation. So, this is how we have to understand how the universal things are. Like, for instance, you say steel is metal and it is opaque, it is hard, it is tough. But when you give temperature to steel in a furnace, it will flow like liquid. So what is called as melting temperature. So if you give melting temperature to metal, it will melt. It can later be in a liquid form. So the characterized is one, but then it will have different characteristics. So the point is, what this sutra is telling us is that there is a abhedam, non-difference, that from one and the same dharmi you will be getting various dharmas, which can be poison to nectar, which can be solid to liquid, which can be solid to gaseous, which can be gaseous to liquid. So the dharmi can give rise to which is jet black, and dharmi can give rise to that is snow white, super white. So that a kind of non-difference in metaphysics is to be cited here, abhedam. The dharmas have lots of differences, mutual differences, but the dharmi is one. Like whether it is vapor or it is ice, the characterized is water. Water will become ice when frozen. Water will become vapor when vaporized. So that's why you get the difference between ice and vapor. That is the bhedam. But then it is all water, whether it is ice form or water form or vapor form, it is water. So that is the abhedam. So material bhedam, abhedam is being cited in the sutra. And therefore, a student of metaphysics we are given an eye opener here in this sutra. Because on business plane of life, we see all diversities. But if you go to source matter called Moola Prakriti, it is all unified there. So this is a great eye opener for us who are all the time moving in the worldly plane of life. So the Bheda Bhedam in the realm of dharmi and dharma has to be understood. Dharma dharmi sambandham, there is a dimension of abhedam, and dharma dharmi sambandham, there is a dimension of bhedam. That is, difference and non-difference both are citable in metaphysics. So the thing is that all these objects that we have, gross or subtle, they have vyaktavastha on one hand, and then they have avyaktavastha on the other hand. That is phenomenal state and noumenal state. So sthulavastha, sukshmavastha. So there what we have to cite is abhedam. What is the aspect of non-difference is an important thing to be identified by a metaphysicist or student of metaphysicist. And that is gunatmakata. Gunatmakata, the sattva rajatama, three gunas, cosmic gunas, come in different proportions, in different processes. And we get diversified universe. So as we hear about unity in diversity today, this diverse universe, universal objects, universal matter of diversified forms has root in ultimately the three gunas, metaphysical gunas, which are sattva, raja, tama. So that is also a postulation in the sutra, gunatmakata, te vyakta sukshma gunatmanaha is the sutra. So whether it is milk or butter or yogurt or clarified butter, it is only difference in properties and chemical status. But the three gunas are invariably concomitant. Even if they are mutually opposite manifestations, distinct manifestations, yet what is constant is sattva, raja, tama. So whether it is manifest creation or unmanifest creation, grosser creation or subtler creation, phenomenal creation or noumenal creation, the gunas are undislodged. The gunas are inherently there. Three gunas are inherently there in all diversified matters. And nothing is gunatita. It is all gunatmaka, not gunatita. So this is being explained by Vyasa. Te khalvami tradvano dharma vartamano vyaktatmano atita anagataha sukshmatmanaha shad vishesha rupaha. So these are the three aspects which we saw repeatedly: potential, actual, latent. So the things exist either in potential state or actual state or latent state. These are khalvametradvano dharma vartamanaha vyaktatmano. When it is vyakta, then we know it is actual. But then when it becomes atita anagata, it is sukshmatmanaha. So when it is in a potential phase or latent phase, then it is Sukshma Rupa. And therefore in metaphysics, the first plane of subtle, metaphysically subtle, is called Shad Vishesha Vishesha Rupa. Shad Visheshas means Tan Matra, Shabda Tan Matra, Sparsha Tan Matra, Rupa Tan Matra, Rasa Tan Matra, Ganna Tan Matra. So you are expected to go back to that part of the second chapter where we dealt with the Vishesha Avishesha Parvas. Vishesha Avishesha Linga Matra Alinga Parvas. The four phases were discussed. Now the first subtle phase, metaphysically subtle phase, is said to be Tan Matra, infra-atomic structure of elements. So that is what Vyasa is mentioning, that Shad Vishesha Rupaha, Shad Avishesha Rupaha. Then all these three advas, three paths, which are namely potential, actual, latent paths of an object. It exists either potentially or actually or latently, or whether it is vyakta or avyakta, whether it is atita or anagata, they are all attaining sukshmatvam. They all attain subtlety. And they are Shad Avishesha Parva. Vishesha Avishesha Linga Matra Alinga. This is described by the metaphysicist in the second sutra. Patanjali as metaphysicist tells us about the matter. Sarvam idam gunanam sannivesha vishesha matrabhiti paramarthata gunatmana. So there onwards, even there it is gudatmak. Where it is gross in the form of Panchamahabhutas or quintuplicated Mahabhutas or objective realities, the gunas are undislodged. While when it comes to manifest phase or grosser phase, something is upakari, something is apakari. Something is good, something is not good, something is bad. Something is absolutely good, something is absolutely bad. Something is poshaka, something is maraka, something is nutritious, and something is poisonous. So all these mutually opposite dharmas appear, but inherently they are all gunas. Inherently they are all gunas. Black and white, poison and nectar, good and bad, valuable and invaluable, or valuable and valueless. Everything is gunatmak. This is what Vyasa tells us here. And as students of metaphysics, we need to be taking cognizance of this. Then he quotes a couplet from Shastras. Tathacha Shastranuशाsanam. Therefore, the Shastras have said, what have they said? Gunanam paramam rupam na drushtipatham bruchati yatta drushtipatham praptam tan mayeva sutuchukam. So this is a quotation which comes in Shashti Tantra, one of the texts of Sankhya, classical text of Sankhya called Shashti Tantra. Varshaganyacharya is the postulator or expounder of this statement. What does this say? What is this statement telling us? Varshaganyacharya tells us the gunas have absolute, ultimate, paramarthika rupam, paramarthika absolute form. Now that cannot be cited. We cannot be having a vision of it because they are extremely subtle even more subtler than what electron microscope can be showing us. So it doesn't come in drushti patham. It will not come to your vision of eyes and vision of intelligence even. Your intelligence might be having eyes, but then even then it is not perceptible for senses, perceptible to mind, perceptible to intelligence. And that is why it is called paramarthika rupam and drushtipatham bruchyati, na drushtipatham bruchyati. It won't come to your vision, either ophthalmological vision or intellectual vision. It won't come to your grasp. So it is not indriya grahya, it is not buddhi grahya. But then what is indriya grahya and buddhi grahya is kshana bhungor. It is ephemeral. It is not eternal. And therefore all that is phenomenal for us, and then we can grasp it, feel it, sense it, comprehend it, it is all maya and it is all tucham. It is all very, very tuchha, sutuchakam. All that is graspable to us, it is extremely tuchha. Tuchha means not considerable at all. Maya, it is all maya, it is all delusive. So that is what Varshaganyacharya has said and Vyasa has quoted. The paramarthik rupam of all matter, whether gross matter, subtle matter, or even metaphysically subtle matter, it is all gunas. Inherently gunas are there. Gunas are never ejected from any phase of a matter. It could be supramatter, inframatter, elemental matter, gross matter, or phenomenal matter. The gunas are inherently there. And that is the important statement of this sutra. Now, so the gunas are common. So you see, dust particle, the sand particle, earth particle, valuka, it's called valuka. Now that is also sattva-rajatama. What do you get from earth particles? What do you get from that? Then on the other hand, sesame seed is also sattva-rajatama. But from sesame seed, you can get oil. Now you can't get oil from valuka. Howsoever you might grind it, pulverize it, grind it. Now it is again, the thing is that it is all the two are gunatmak. Sesame seed or the valuka, earth particles, dust. They are both are gunatmaka, but you can't get oil out of valuka. You can't get oil out of earth particles, but you can get oil out of sesame. Now, this is what is astonishing for us. Therefore, if you want to have oil, don't collect a sack of earth matter, valuka. Don't collect sand. Collect sesame. So the point here is that valuka is trigunatmaka and sesame is also gudatmaka. However, you can't get oil from valuka. You can only get it from sesame. So all padarthas have trigunatmakata. Like a potter man prepares a pot out of clay. The Prakriti is Bruttika there. Material cause is Bruttika, that is lump of clay. Water is also Prakritik. The water is also Prakritik. But you cannot turn out pot from water. You can turn out pot from clay. You cannot turn out pot from butter. You have to turn pot from clay. Now, although the source matter is identical, this is the marvel of Prakriti. Its creativity. Its creativity. Not that anything will give everything. All the source matter is Sattva, Raja, Tama, three gunas, and they give you diversified universe, yet there is a science, there is a process. Although that is inherently there in all matters, you can't get all matters from all matters or any matter from all matters. So, that's how this Prakriti is. Prakriti is source of all phenomenal creation, from dust particle to stars in the sky. The stars in the sky which are 1,000 times, 10,000 times greater than even sun. So, metaphysicists have this wonder to observe and wonder to understand. So, the thing is, the pot cannot be turned out from water. Pot cannot be turned out from butter. Pot can be only turned out by clay. So, there is a process, onward process from the primordial source matter such as Gunatmakata. Then Gunatmakata slowly proceeds through a process in cosmology. And then you have different matters like primeval matter, then you have supra matter, then you have subtle matter, then you have gross matter, and then all these different phases create this diversified universe. Anyway, the final question comes here. We are discussing actually Vasana. What has come out here? Where are we now? Have you lost our path? We are discussing Vasana, and where have we come to milk and clarified butter and clay and oil? What is this? Are we misled? So the point is, Vasanas come from where? From where do they come and where do they proceed? And how do they get lost? This is an important Adhyatmic question that we took up, and see where we are landed now. We are landed in discussing these various matters and material forms. So, this Adhyatmic question is more important. The point is, the ghata, the pot will only come from clay and not from butter. The yogurt will only come from milk, not from water. Now, this is not important matter for us. What is more important, that we are discussing the vasana basically, and this is a sutra with reference to vasanas and is related to vasanas. The sutra mentions about Vyakta and Sukshma. So that is, we have to apply it to Vyakta Vasana and Sukshma Vasana. Vasanas can be Vyakta, Vasanas can be Sukshma. Vasanas can be gross and Vasanas can be subtle. So here the Swarupam of Vasana is actually in discussion, but we have come far away. Seemingly, we have deviated from the main topic, but that is not true. The point is, vasanas can be vyakta or vasanas can be sukshma. This is how we have to come back to the basic point of discussion that we are having. So the vasanas can be vyakta or vasanas can be sukshma. And the vasanas can be sometimes gross, manifest, sometimes not there. That means potentially there. Sometimes the vasanas are dormant. Because the vasanas are collected from janmantaranam. From so many births, the vasanas have come. Now some vasanas are operating, not all vasanas are operating. We have countless vasanas in us, but some are in operative phase and some are not in operative phase. So therefore this sutra should be taken as the Atma of vasanas is Sattva Rajatama gunas. The Sattva Rajatama gunas will turn out three kinds of vasanas. So some vasanas will be dormant. There won't be any sprout in this life. Certain vasanas are potentially there. Like a child, a male child of 2-3 years of age doesn't have mustache. But when the child comes to teenage, the mustache start appearing. So potentially mustache was there, but did not come to manifestation until the boy reached puberty and the teenage. So we are actually discussing vasanas. So maybe you lost sight of it in discussing all these metaphysics in between. But Vyasa brings to our notice that actually we are discussing vasanas. The vasanas are trigunatmaka. There is also three gunas in vasanas. Sattva, Raja, Tama. So it can be rendered as sattvic vasanas, rajasic vasanas, tamasic vasanas. Vasanas, the Atma of vasanas are gunas. Therefore, if we have to manage the vasanas, we will have to do something with respect to three gunas. Because vasanas are gunatmaka. So guna vyavasthapanam, guna management is of great importance. Now you will understand how we are brought. See, we are brought on the track. We thought we have lost the track. So for vasana management, we will have to do something which is with the help of gunas. Sattva, Rajatama gunas have to be managed. Something encouraged, something discouraged. So that is why a seemingly drifted sutra is now seen to be on track because of what Vyasa has explained in his commentary. The point is, some of the vasanas are avyakta, some of the vasanas are vyakta. And then in the course of our life, we do understand vasanas surface in different time space situation. But that means we can infer that the presence was there, not that they were absent. And therefore, if the vasanas are gunatmaka, now understand, for moksha, Patanjali beautifully postulates later, gunanam pratiprasavaha. So ultimately, vasana free condition can be ensued with the reversal of gunas, because they are all of the nature of gunas. Therefore, in the last sutra of the text, he tells us gunanam pratiprasavaha. So there should be a reverse merger of gunas. That means end of vasanas is a probability, logical probability, and it's not abstruse mysticism. If the whole creation is ensuing from three gunas, then transcending three gunas or having a reversal of three gunas, one can be really understanding the liberation. So that is how we have reconciled with the topic of discussion which was on and from where this particular sutra came. Now these three gunas work how? How do they work? They coexist. Nothing is exclusively sattvic, nothing is exclusively rajasic, nothing is exclusively tamasic, nothing is non-sattvic but rajasic tamasic, nothing is nothing is rajasic but non-sattvic non-tamasic, nothing is tamasic but non-sattvic non-rajasic. The three gunas do coexist. So whether it is a sublime plane or mean plane of one's mind psyche consciousness, all the three gunas, they coexist. They coexist means what? So whether you are about to be liberated yogi, you have the three gunas. If you are in very stark bondage, that liberation is unimaginable, that you have shackles from all the sides, still there are three gunas. So on the lowest rung of samskaras, you have three gunas. On the highest rung of three samskaras, you have three gunas. Now they don't just coexist. They have anga angi sambandham, avayava avayavi sambandham. That is what is being mentioned here. If it is a sattvic manifestation, rajatama gunas would facilitate it, not they necessarily counter it. When it is rajasic manifestation, sattva-tama gunas will facilitate it. If it is tamasic manifestation, sattva-raja gunas will be subserving it, that phase. So that is called anga angi sambandham. The preponderance of a state in three gunas is called angi, and the other two gunas will be subserving. That is anga angi sambandham or avayava avayavi sambandham, the relationship of the nature of part and whole. Suppose it is sattva exalted state, rajatama gunas will be avayava, parts. If it is rajasic, then sattva-tama gunas will be parts. If it is tamasic, it will be sattva-raja gunas, which will be parts. The whole will be either sattva or raja or tama in the case that we just now considered. Now, there comes a question that if sattva-raja-tama gunas are source matter, it should allow anything to come from anything. If it is source matter, primeval matter, primordial matter, anything should come out from anything, but then in that case, this won't be cosmos, it would be chaos. Why there is orderliness? Why is it that this is this and not that, and that is that and not this? If inherently everything is sattva-rajatama gunas, in all phases of it, subtle to gross, if in all phases it is sattva-rajatama gunas, then anything should be harvesting anything. Why is it that that is not the case? So, as a final statement of the session today, let me tell you that everything is neutron, proton, electron, the subatomic particles. Anything and everything is proton, neutron, electron at the nucleus of an atom. This is what the modern science tells us. Now, if that is the uh, nucleus of all matters, any matter should be turning out any matter. Why not turn out butter from milk? Why not turn butter from water? Why only milk? Why not turn out butter from a wood? A piece of wood should give rise to butter. Because everywhere it is proton, neutron, electron. But see how it is. Like if there is a fire, there are flames. Now, it is proton, neutron, electron. Now, how it is extinguished by water? Because water is also proton, neutron, electron. So, water is extinguisher of fire. Carbon dioxide is extinguisher of fire. But ultimately, carbon dioxide is also proton, neutron, electron. And the fire is also proton, neutron, electron. So, the science tells us as to why the water is extinguisher of fire. See, again, it is interesting to note what is after all fire. Now, what is water? Water is combination of hydrogen, oxygen in electrical fusion. H2O is the proportion. Now, hydrogen is inflammable gas, and oxygen is complement to inflammability. Now they come together in a electrical fusion and they fight fire. They fight fire. Hydrogen is fiery. Oxygen is assistant to be fiery for the fiery things. But they two come together in particular electrical fusion, and then they become firefighters. So we know these mysteries even in the plane of physics. So similarly, that question comes up here. If everything is gunatmaka, the universe should be chaos. Anything coming out of anything, anything happening to anything, anything becoming anything. But why is it that it is cosmos? Why is there orderliness? So this is what is a topic that is coming up in the next sutra, the 14th sutra. That we will consider next time. So enough for the time being. Namaskar all of you.